Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. Taking a quick look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on here, and helping understand what the heck is the deal. We had this fake little pump here where the price action pushed up, probably liquidated a few shorts at 43,500, and effectively is pulling back now. Keep in mind, traditional markets are down, dollar index is up. These are not abnormal things. So this is not completely irregular, but again, we're seeing a lot of funky stuff in the market. So we're going to see if this has potential to break out and basically what's going on here with the back end data there. And again, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Congrats to a lot of our community members here for some awesome profits over the weekend. We pretty much milked the heck out of Chainlink, Cardano, BNB for our day trader plots. And then of course, more important here as well, Chainlink 75%, 46% for both. So congrats on that. Just like to highlight the positive, folks, because sometimes, it can be like, peaks and valleys if you're trading in this kind of market. And sometimes you got to hold longer than you want to. It's just the way it goes. But if you're using small position size, small leverage, you're going to be okay, right? So please make sure that you're not over leveraging so you can kind of sustain some of these obnoxious candle wicks and candlesticks we're seeing. So looking at the 7 days here. As liquidation levels for the last 7 days, we had a lot of price action of about 41,800. So in the last 7 days, people felt confident having a stop loss and or a liquidation level about 42K. I'm kind of rounding down a little bit or up, but generally speaking, 42,000 is that general area of support. Again, not necessarily based on volume, but more importantly, that has been roughly a decent support level based on fib levels. Regardless of that fact here, we got a lot of liquidation upwards of 44,000. The original premise, leading into the weekend, is that we are going to see 44,000 get swept. Okay. The main reason why is because on the larger time frames, you can see a very heavy concentration at 44,000. Okay. So again, if you kind of look in here, you can see while all these more recent, within the last 7 days, we can see 42K as a rough estimate. For the most part, we're seeing a massive amount of liquidation at about 44.2. So it still makes sense for that level to get swept. But once more, is that a reason to take a trade in either direction? Not necessarily. Just kind of some helpful understanding of roughly where the price action is all accumulated, right? So we got a lot of shorts feeling pretty confident at that 44K mark or higher. Okay, so. Is it willing, are you willing to short right now? Should you short right now? Let's find out and see if that's a reality. Let's go ahead and clarify, kind of start, because the weekly has closed, so we're going to talk about the weekly here just really quick, kind of get perspective on what's going on, because weekly timeframes, you can't like base your entire trade on one thing, but the weekly does have a tendency of kind of showing us what's going to happen next in a lot of ways, just based on overall sentiment. Keep in mind, we got all of our moving averages doing well. The highest one is at 38,000. So that is the 20-day SMA hanging out there at about 38,000. I'm not proposing the price is going to come down to that low, but once more, that is a support level. That's generally what that's telling us. Okay, so it's all well and good. We can see here with stochastic RSI, it's trying to swing up, but hasn't yet. So we're still kind of lagging behind there. We got the RSI up at 70, close to 70 rather, and then money flow index is still high. So these are not bad signs. These are mostly bullish, and we do have a shift in momentum coming here soon, potentially to push the price action higher. Okay. Once more, not necessarily a guarantee. Also, too, here as well, we got on the weekly, we got a MACD divergence forming, kind of just letting us know, because generally speaking, when you see a MACD divergence or convergence on the weekly time frame, they carry a little bit more weight. So I mean, if we look at hindsight, of course, hindsight's 2020, but obviously if you take a look at this most recent convergence, this is when the MACD converged here, and it did all of this within that time frame, right? So that's roughly back in October. If you look previous to that, it diverged here, it diverged right here, and kind of went sideways and down. Okay, so again, it's not like it's a guarantee the price is just going to plummet or shoot in either direction. It just tells us, hey, there's going to be a shift in momentum that might last a few weeks / a few months. Okay, so hypothetically, if we break bearish here and we start pulling back to that 41K range or 40,000 range, then we should be able to expect the price action to stay in that range for at least 2 or 3 more months. Roughly, that's the same amount of time that we have left before the Bitcoin halving. So again, that's why there's a lot of speculation on the price action pulling back between now and then, just based on the simple fact that it's more likely to continue higher once we have the Bitcoin halving, but leading into it, there's a great chance that we will see the price pull back. Again, that's kind of where that sentiment comes from. Now, do I subscribe to that? I'm 50-50, honestly. Part of me feels like we should still see a lower low here, possibly in the mid to upper 38,000 range, but I also kind of feel like we could be getting closer to just kind of finding our bottom too. It could honestly go both ways, but the macro is kind of telling us that we could see a further downside. So what we're going to be looking for is invalidations to kind of see if this uptrend or downtrend is invalidated. And a lot of it could happen in different ways. So this 43,000 mark is pretty heavy with resistance. So what we can kind of see here is that, with 43, 44,000 being kind of that level, there's a strong chance that, breaking above this would be a bullish sign. Okay, so being, just say 44, even 45K or higher would give us a pretty good confirmation that the price action is back on track. We haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen a lot of weakness. The price action has very difficult time crossing this level here. If we zoom in on the daily, this part here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, now 10 attempts to break through 43,000. I'm just going to round up and say 43,500. Okay, so 43.5 is a very, very heavy point of contention. So to me, getting above that level, I think would be extremely important. Okay, so a solid daily candlestick closure above that, perhaps even 2 or 3 daily candlestick closures above that would be fantastic. Do we always get what we're looking for? Definitely not. In fact, we could probably say that that's never going to happen because we want it to happen, right? It's generally the concept. But that's trading for you, folks. Things will never truly occur the way that you want them to. You kind of got to roll with the punches. Speaking of punches, we're starting to see a slight divergence here on the MACD, nothing significant yet, but losing momentum. We have a second stochastic swing to the downside. This is also carrying more weight. As I've mentioned previous, when you have a stochastic swing to the downside, the second is typically a lot more impactful. Okay, really just implies that this most recent push-up has failed, and of course we can kind of see here that the that's the money flow index. It is high, which is good. But once more, traditional RSI hanging right up there at 50. So if we close below that here in the next couple of days, once again, that'll be more of a bearish divergence and a stronger likelihood the price action could go lower. Okay, so that's generally where we're looking there on the daily. 4-hour time frame, once more, kind of a transitionary time frame, letting us know kind of where we're at with things. We can see a MACD-FU here. We're supposed to converge, but we didn't. That's again how these fake outs tend to work. And we can also see here as well that stochastic RSI is swinging up, but still not a phenomenal sign. But it did carry more weight, so again, this is a second stochastic swing to the upside. Hindsight is 2020, of course, but had you caught that, you would have been a nice little long there over the weekend. Once more, weekends, I don't tend to trade much on the weekends, just me personally, but generally speaking, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Traditional RSI is kind of trying to stay above 50, but it hasn't yet, so we haven't got a closure there. Money flow index is still low. So all week signs here. Yeah, and then we're also below majority of the moving averages too. So if this candlestick closes where it's at, which is looking like it will, we got 15 minutes left in this candle, there's a solid chance we should be able to see the price continue to pull back and potentially bottom out here at this 0.382 fib level. 42,500 is once again kind of that tentative support level. It's been a previous resistance for us, and I think that we should be able to see that either hold or not. If we do not close above 42,500 today, I think that would be more so a bearish sign. Okay. Once again, we kind of want to pay attention to these trend lines here. We can kind of see we've wicked down quite a few times here. So as the price continues to work itself into this little wedge, if you will, we could see a break in either direction. We just kind of got to pay attention and see what's going on in the overall sense at that time. Hourly, let's go and wrap this up here, folks. Sorry, I've been a little bit wordy here today. Ichimoku Cloud, we can kind of see that, we've been traveling above and below it. It's not really the most valid indicator right now, just based on the fact that the price was range bound for the most part of the weekend. So not really a good indication here, but not really a great sign either, because we were breaking above and being free and clear before. We had nice momentum. Most of that has been since washed away in the last 2 hours here. So nice little correction here for Bitcoin, about 2% in the last 2 hours. Once again, traditional markets, a lot of other things are kind of, they're shifting gears, right? Dollar index is up. Regular markets are dumping. So, these are pretty common characteristics. So I wouldn't think that the sky is falling per se just yet. So try not to get too crazy, to take too many short positions, but you may want to consider hedging some of your longs with a short or two. It wouldn't be the worst idea ever. That's generally where we're at there. Again, a little too premature, in my personal opinion, to consider a massive position. I think low leverage, low position size is still king in this situation here. And I think we just got to be a little bit patient here, because even though we do have some bearish type of signs, there's still some positive here in the market too. We're not in dire straits just yet. To me personally though, losing this 42,500 mark, that's probably going to be a point of contention there. Closing below that today would be likely a pretty significant bearish sign for us. So we're going to kind of pay attention to that and kind of see where we're at there. Hopefully that makes sense and I can describe that correctly. Thank you again so much for watching. Again, if you want to become a better trader, make sure you have a good exchange as well working for you. No KYC or VPN for Bitunix. Use the link down below. Make sure you register with them. They are extremely awesome. Thanks again for that, and thank you as well for just being an awesome part of my life. Look forward to working with y'all. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.